Welcome to The Rest Between Sets, a podcast about health, wellness, and the real lives behind the workouts. I'm Rebecca, a physical therapist and a strength coach who has had some really good conversations with athletes while they're resting between their sets. I've gotten some really good life advice, and so every week I sit down with members of our gym and our community to talk about what it really takes to be strong in the gym and in life. Our guest on the podcast today is Liz Rypkema, and she has, I think, one of the coolest jobs ever. She's a child life specialist at Shawn Jenkins Children's Hospital, and she helps the kids that are staying there deal with whatever emergencies, illnesses, or injuries that they have going on. All right. Hey, Liz, welcome to the podcast. How was the workout?
Oh, it was a rough one today, but
yeah.
Jason loved to make it hard for us, but made it through. We're here now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that complaints and sighs and all of that just kind of fuels him.
I think so too.
When he writes the workouts.
Yeah, he likes to just push you by making fun of you. So
yeah, exactly.
Just to really boost your confidence.
Yeah, it's a really great
Very
environment.
different than your classes, but all good. All good. Variety is good.
It's a spice of life.
Yeah.
So Liz, you're I think the first guest on the podcast that I don't know as well. So I want to know what got you started working out? What got you started weightlifting? What made you want to join?
Well, I had a good friend, Hensley, who works out here. And so, one, she recommended it. But kind of what spurred on my desire to get into a more of consistent, just schedule with working out and being active, was just needing a little bit more balance in my life.
Yeah.
And we can talk about it a little later, but my job, I work in healthcare.
Yeah, so you have a really cool job. You want to talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. I am a child life specialist in the emergency department at Shawn Jenkins Children's Hospital. And so I basically help kids and families cope with being in the hospital. And so that kind of is an array of coping, either just coping with a vaccine or coping with a new terminal diagnosis, things like that. So it's a wide variety of ways we support families, but because of that, it's also a very emotional job.
Yeah.
And we do a lot of different things with families that it just takes a lot for you as emotionally. And so I was finding that I didn't feel like I had a good balance in my life with work life and just doing things for myself outside of work. And a lot of what we and what they push in healthcare especially is your self-care and things like that, which is when you narrow it down, you're okay, what does that mean for me?
Yeah.
And for me, I have had just a lot of recovery almost with being active. So I run, I've done a few half marathons and one full, but I just found a lot of good balance, but just felt like my running couldn't even progress more unless I was also doing something with weight training, things like that. And I think as adults it's really hard to do new things. It's really hard to be bad at things.
Oh yeah, I think about that all the time.
Yeah, and I don't like being bad at things, but I also don't like being stagnant in what I'm doing. And so specifically with Hustle One and it being more of the weightlifting, with the barbell, that isn't something I've done since high school. And so it was encouraging and scary to be okay, I'm gonna go in and literally not know how to do it. And even now it's very humbling. I think I just told Jason last week, every workout's humbling, but it's all in a good way because it's scary and new, but
it's stretching your brain.
Yeah. And it's good as an adult to feel that oh, I don't know how to do this. And so I want to learn. I just think we so naturally step into spaces where it's oh, I know how to do all this because that's comfortable.
Yeah.
So that's really why I wanted to come work out here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what does a child life specialist do exactly at Shawn Jenkins?
So what I do specifically is there's one per department. So we have a kind of a large caseload. And so first we kind of have to assess who needs us the most, because realistically every kid and family could probably benefit from some sort of psychosocial support. Yeah. So, they need a lot of doctors and nurses and specialists and all that stuff. And so oftentimes it's super overwhelming for kids and families, and especially kids who step in that space and usually have preconceptions of what a doctor's office or hospital is like. But they also don't understand the same words that providers doctors, nurses use on a regular basis, and it just can induce a lot of fear, and therefore then leads to them not like coping well, and then kind of leads to more traumatic events that's on top of like whatever is bringing them there.
Yeah.
And so a lot of what we do is try to reduce like especially medical trauma that happens for kids. And so specifically what I do is often like try to meet kids like when they get to the emergency department, whether it's for a broken bone or like a laceration or they're sick or whatever. And like try to build rapport with them, just like be like somebody that they can like trust and understand. And we do a lot of that through honestly playing with them. So we have like obviously like a lot of toys and stuff. It just helps like make me like a safe person. And then that way, whenever it comes time for them to have any procedures or anything that like we need to discuss with them, they can like trust me, and I use like very child development, like based on their development, choose like appropriate language to like explain things to them. And so I'll like prep them even like for an IV. Like a lot of kids like don't know what an IV is. Even a lot of parents don't know what an IV is. And so just like talking them through the steps and making plans with them of like, okay, well, like, you know, do you want to watch what's going on? Do you not want to watch? And an IV is just like a simple example, but kind of just giving them options and choices that are appropriate, because there's so much in the hospital setting that like they can't choose. Like they can't choose if they're there. They can't choose if they're getting medical treatment, because that's their parents' choice. They can't choose like, you know, what procedures get done and what don't. So trying to offer them some sort of sense of control is a lot of what we do too.
So like one aspect of your job kind of then is like almost translating, like translating like the medical jargon and what the doctors are saying into like more palatable kid-friendly language.
Yeah. Oftentimes I'll like tell kids like, you know, no one knows what child life specialist is when I meet them. So I say I'm kind of like a teacher in the hospital. And like my job is to help you understand as much as you want to know, because a lot of people like, you know, also a lot of it is like learning individuals. Like not everyone's the same. So like kids are the same way, and like sometimes kids want to know a lot of information and they want to ask a million questions. Other times like they don't, and that's making them more nervous, and so we find other ways to help support them.
And they all develop at different rates too. So like one teenager is like totally different than another teenager.
Totally. I know. It's like, honestly, it's like crazy. But yeah, so you have to kind of go in with this open mind and like quickly being assessing of like, all right, what's their development? What is their coping strategy? What's their family support? Because that also makes a huge difference. Like what is the situation we're here? What are their past experiences? Like so many things tie into how people cope, especially in the hospital environment. And so we do a lot of like quick assessments with that, and just like wanting to learn what each kid needs. And kids are, I think the thing is like kids are so resilient, but kids also are like, so just the way their minds work is so cool. And so being able to like, sometimes when you talk to parents, you're like, you know, this is what I can talk to them about this, and they're like, oh, I don't know if they'll understand. And then you start talking to the 5-year-olds, and like they like sit there and they think about it, and then they ask like really good questions, and it's just like a very rewarding part of my job to get down and like get to talk to kids about things that like adults think they're too little for. Or they're just like not gonna understand, and you're like, we can help them understand. It's different than like a doctor coming in and consenting you for procedure. Like it's not gonna be the same like information that way, but I feel like that's a fulfilling part of my job, is like getting to see kids as like all that they are, and like all the resilience that they bring, and all like the knowledge even that their little brains can like comprehend, and then the things they can do with that. Like a lot of it's like being like, I think they can do this procedure. Like we'll coach them through it, we'll talk them through it, and just kind of like empowering also parents to like help support their kids in ways and try to reduce any trauma.
That's super cool. I think kids are like way smarter than a lot of adults give them credit for. So
if you give them the time and the space and the like appropriate like information like for their brains to understand, and then like with that, with knowing their development, like knowing like, okay, this age group typically, like if we don't talk to them, they actually like may come up with ideas in their own head. And a lot of times families think like if a kid doesn't know scary information, they're like in la la land and they think everything's good. But kids are really perceptive. So
they are. They can read vibes.
They totally can. And like so like that's what we always talk to parents about. Like if a parent comes in and they are obviously like not trusting of our medical staff, like kids pick up on that and they're like, oh, I guess I'm in danger.
Yeah.
And so a lot of it's also like helping families feel comfortable, because I'm like, and I go in being like, I am not medical. I did not go to med school. I don't know all this medical jargon. I know only from like asking the doctors of like, explain this to me.
Yeah.
And so I think it's reassuring to them to know that there's someone there that also is like, you're allowed to ask questions and you're allowed to be like, wait, what does that mean? Or like, and I tell teens that all the time. I'm like, we don't expect you to know all this. And so please, like, stop us if you're confused. Like, this is your care. And so, like, we don't ever want you to feel like we're just doing things to you. Like, you're involved in this. And so I think that's also another rewarding part.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
So do you just work in the ER, or do you float to other departments sometimes too?
Because of my ER shift, I work like evenings and weekends too, and so because of that, we have limited staff on those hours, and so I do float around if they need help.
Okay. Do you ever work in the PICU? That's where I used to work when I was a student there.
Yeah, honestly, I enjoy the ICUs and the ED. I think I just enjoy like the kind of like faster pace environment.
There's just such crazy diagnosis there too.
Yeah, there's so, I mean, like seriously, when I say I asked a million questions, like I am always going to the doctor's be like, but what does this mean? I don't know what this word is, or like Googling things. Which
so
again,
many acronyms too.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. But like, it's the way I always explain it too. I'm like, I have to understand at least a little bit to like what you're saying, like a liaison, a translator, like I need to then translate it down. And so even if they're like, oh, this is what procedure we're doing. Okay, I'm like, okay, but step by step, what do you do? Because I want to be able to go to the kid or teenager and be like, these are the sensations you'll feel at each time. So that way they can like really know what's going on in the middle of it. Because even like, it's funny now, like having friends who are doctors and who don't work in pediatrics, but like, they're like, oh my gosh, we need that for like adults.
Yeah.
Because like, not everyone just has a baseline medical knowledge. And so you need people who just like, honestly dumb it down. And
and some people just have really low health literacy. It really depends on like where you grew up and like your educational background and everything.
And so I think it just gives you a lot of like a good perspective on people of being like, okay, let's meet them where they're at, kind of thing. And so
and Shawn Jenkins is probably a really cool hospital to do that in, because they do a lot of like procedures there that you can't get anywhere else. There's kids flying in from like other parts of the country,
from all over, and you know, they have like, it's like technically a level 1 trauma center, which means like any like traumas or, you know, big accidents and things like that happen around the state. Like oftentimes we get flown from or driven from other hospitals and stuff too. So that's another piece of it. Like oftentimes these families are like relocated. So it's just like other stressors that like, sometimes it's helpful to have someone in the hospital acknowledge those things. And so we work with like a bunch of other even like psychosocial like people, which is great. Like we have art therapists and music therapists and a dance therapist.
We work with the music therapist a lot in physical therapy, especially with kids in comas.
That's actually a really cool part of their job. I think it's so cool.
It's crazy the results, really, like how people respond to music, like even if they're comatose, like
So it's like cool to get to like see so many different specialties too, and like all work together to try to create like, you know, some sense of like normalcy for some of these kids, especially the ones who are there for a long time. But yeah.
Do you find that a lot of the families that are relocated are staying at like the Ronald McDonald House?
A lot of them do, or they try to. They're renovating it. I think I saw signs.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, they have limited space, so it's like they can't technically take everybody. But everyone I have met that like has been there has like loved it. So.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
So what kind of educational background do you have? Like, you don't have a medical background, so is it like psychology?
Well, a lot of people get their undergrad in like child development or like education, something like that. I kind of went a backwards way, and I like actually thought I was going to be a physical therapist.
Oh, hey. Okay.
Yeah. So I went to school for a degree in biology with an emphasis on pre-rehab. And then kind of switched halfway through when I did realize I didn't want to do physical therapy. And my older sister actually, she worked with a child life specialist and was like, actually, you should look into this job because you and her are pretty similar. And also like you want to be in the medical field, but you don't really want to be in the medical field. And so like I kind of didn't switch gears totally, but I like added like a minor in recreational therapy. And then after undergrad at Clemson, I went to grad school at College Charleston and got my master's in child life.
Okay.
Which again is just like a lot of classes in like child development, child psychology. We learn a lot about like hospital stressors and how like different ages may like conceptualize the stressors or need coping through the stressors. And we learn about like kind of a lot of like bigger diagnosis. We like talk through a lot of those, but then a lot of the medical information I know now is truly just from experience.
Yeah.
It's just from like working with providers and nurses and asking a million questions.
Yeah. Well, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, asking questions I think is one of the best ways to gain more knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah. So I really enjoy it, but it's like I said, like at the beginning, like it's still like a very emotionally taxing job. And so it's really helpful to have like avenues outside of work that like I can kind of help release some of that.
Yeah, so you got running,
emotional pent up.
Running in the gym, and then I know you like to go to the beach.
Yes.
What else?
The beach. And you actually probably don't know this, I am also an artist.
Oh, that's so cool.
So
okay, what do you like to paint? Or draw,
Mainly I feel like I do a lot of like landscapes, but
Charleston's a pretty place for that.
Yeah, I kind of paint with whatever. I like to do acrylic painting, but my sisters and I all paint together.
Okay.
And
you have a lot of sisters, right?
Yeah, I have 4 sisters.
Yeah. So how many siblings do you have?
I have 4 sisters and 6 brothers.
Right.
So
She got me beat.
11 of us. Yeah, just barely. But yeah, creating has always been something in our family. Like a lot of my siblings are like artists as their like career. And so like it's because we honestly just like grew up creating, and we grew up like being able to make messes and like being able to just try things. And like I think that also like ties into like me being like, oh, I don't want to like ever get to a place where I'm stagnant, because like I've always been, you know, in an environment that's like, oh, you can try this even if you don't know how to do it. And like you might not be good at it, but like just try. And so like my sisters and I like years ago actually started like a little art business where we like make a calendar every year and come out with it. And it was like something that's like been so fun to like push each other towards, and like use our art as just like a creative outlet, but also then use it to like try new things and like push ourselves with that, because like we're not really like business people at all, but not all. Some of us are. Like we all have different strengths, which is actually why like the 5 of us work really well together. But it's just been like a really nice like way to like spend time together, but also just like push ourselves, and then also have like a way to decompress from everything. And so that's another thing I really enjoy.
Where can people buy your paintings and calendar?
Oh, we have a website.
Okay.
Our name is Legacy Studio.
Okay.
Because Legacy actually is our names all put together.
Oh, that's
so
pretty
Liz,
cool.
M, Grace, Annalise, and Carolyn.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so we usually come out with a calendar in like October, November. So we're working on it now.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, it's like just been a super fun thing that we do, and I don't know, I really enjoy it.
That's awesome, Liz. Cool. Well, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Super informative.
Yeah, this is so fun.
Yeah, I love hearing about the child life stuff. That's really cool.
Sweet.
All right, well, I'll talk to you later. Thanks so much for listening to the Rest Between Sets. And thanks so much, Liz, for coming on the podcast. You're an awesome guest, and I think we all learned a lot about what a child life specialist is and the differences that you make. Stay tuned for the next episode.